got used to the idea of having one another in our lives, each other's lives.
Yeah.
And we waited about 9 months to finally meet. And so when we did meet, we really didn't feel like strangers anymore. We felt, that we had a good idea of who each other was. And it was just a very incredible experience,
I would think so.
meeting my mother and my father for the very first time, a day I shall never forget.
I'm sure not. Now, in that 9 months that you were communicating and Skyping with your parents, were you able to have all of your questions answered, or did you have more questions when you finally met?
Well, you know what? My mother was very smart. She slowly, very lovingly gave me the information. She didn't give it to me all at once, which was just brilliant on her part. Because had she told me, within the first few weeks, listen, I was put into a mental institution, my parents wanted, me to abort you, that would have been just too much for me, all at once. So she really waited to give me those kind of details.
Yeah.
She started with her childhood and told me, about, that first and my father's childhood and, how they met and all that. And she did it slowly, and it really made a difference.
Mm-hmm. You also, like you said, you talked 9 months about like getting to that's like the gestation of a pregnancy.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. And
wow, that is awesome.
Mother Nature knows what she's doing when she
yes.
Oh yeah.
And really, without realizing it, we mimicked that scenario. It wasn't intended. It just worked out that way.
Yeah.
I mean, we wanted to slowly get used to the idea of having one another in each other's lives. It's a pretty big deal. You can't just find them and meet the next day and expect to be mother and daughter. You just can't do that. That's not reality. And oftentimes that's why adoption reunions don't work out. The expectation is, wow, you're my mother, okay. Or, and when you don't feel that bond right away, you're disheartened and feel like, well, something's wrong here. And it goes sour. But when you allow a relationship to grow and you allow a bond to form, then there's longevity to the relationship.
Absolutely.
And writing the book gave us a common goal. And I think that's another secret to a successful adoption reunion. It doesn't have to be writing a book, but some kind of goal that you have in common that forces you to talk to one another on a regular basis and share ideas and thoughts and have ups and downs during that process, disagreements and agreements. And that really goes far in building a relationship.
Yeah. Now, did you have, through the 9 months, I'm pretty sure that you probably went through just about every emotion. Going through all the steps of grieving and anger and forgiveness and not forgiving and questioning. Were you able to be open with both your mother and father through that without having to worry about a ramification from it?
Well, probably not. You have to build trust before you can be completely open with somebody, at least in my opinion. And so, trust doesn't form overnight. So I think I slowly was able to have those discussions with them.
Yeah.
That didn't take place within the first few months.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Until I was able to trust that, that they're not going to walk away from me.
Exactly.
And that takes time to build trust with anybody, in any relationship.
Yeah. I know we're coming to the bottom of the hour, and I know I was going to bring you an hour, but would you mind staying with us for a little bit longer?
Sure.
We're not even into the meat of this whole thing yet. So let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll go ahead and come into the meeting and where you guys are now. So don't go away, folks. You're listening to The Broader View on the Hazy Radio Network with our guest, Frank. I was going to sneeze. Frank von Zerneck and Kathy Hatfield. No, I had to mute my mic. I sneezed right in the middle of it.
But a sneeze never.
Frank Sneeze. No, we didn't know that was his middle name until now, but we're going to change that. So don't go away, folks. We'll be right back. You listen to The Broader View on the Hazy Radio Network.
this is JoJo with Nostalgia Radio on the Hey Radio Network. Why not start your day off with a cup of Java and a trip back in time? Join me Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. Tune in to the voices of Vincent Price as the Saint on Mystery Monday. Who can forget Buck Rogers on Sci-Fi Tuesday, or Sergeant Friday in Dragnet on Detective Wednesday? Red Skeleton in the Best of Comedy on Thursday, and round up the week with Gunsmoke on Western Friday. Journey back in time and listen to the music from the greats such as Benny Goodman, Count Basie, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Rosemary Clooney, Doris Day, and Ella Fitzgerald. Grab a cup of Folgers and enjoy the best of Nostalgia Radio. Tune in using your mobile device or join us live in the chat room. Hey Z gives you nothing but the best in radio programming from the past generations to the present. Let Hey Z be your morning drive pick-me-up.
Looking at the world through the wide-angle lens. It's The Broader View with Hey Z and Belle Salisbury on the Hey Z Radio Network. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back, everybody. And you're listening to The Broader View on Hey Z Radio Network. And this is your host, Hey Z, and with me I have Joanne Arnaud. And we also have two incredible guests with us. I'm so excited that they decided to stay a little bit longer with us. I've got Frank von Zerneck. See, I didn't sneeze that time. And and his daughter, Kathy Hatfield. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
I know we were talking about how you built up to meeting your mother. What was that first meeting like? And Frank, did you go with them on this meeting, or was it just?
It was Julie and Kathy. I was coming into town, but they two met alone. Mm-hmm. At the lobby of the Ritz Hotel on Central Park South in New York. Oh. They decided to meet at a neutral place.
Sure.
Kathy was conceived in New York, so she came up from Florida where she lives, and we came in from California where we live. And the two of them met alone at 5:30 or 6 o'clock one evening. And just to hear them describe it, it's in the book. It was like unbelievable.
Yeah, Kathy, what was that meeting like, Kathy?
It was pretty surreal. When I first arrived, she got there first. And when I first arrived, I couldn't find her. And I thought to myself, she couldn't do it. She couldn't go through with it. And because, it's a big moment, and a lot of people, it's too much for them.
Yeah.
And I was just about to turn away and leave when the doorman taps me on the shoulder and says, Madame, are you waiting for somebody? And I turn around and I look and I see her over his shoulder. And I know it's her. I've seen pictures of her, but I also see myself in her. And she opens her arms and takes a step toward me. And, for the first time in my life, I feel the embrace of my mother. And, it's just a moment I'll never forget.
Closure. Absolutely. Awesome. And do you remember what your first conversation was?
I remember her first comment to me was she took a step back after we hugged. She took a step back and she said, "You're coiffed." And I said, okay, it just threw me. And I'll never forget that because it just, it was different. Who she is, she's just such an interesting woman and so honest and genuine. And, and so it really spoke volumes. Anyway, we had a drink together and, talked. And then about an hour later, my sister Danielle came and joined us. And, that was wonderful for me as well. Danielle and I are similar in many ways, and we're different in many ways. But, to have a full-blooded sibling.
Yeah.
And here I have two. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
My entire life I've grown up and never seeing myself in anybody, never being related to anybody.
Right.
And here, for the first time, I'm surrounded by 4 people that I'm completely related to. And it was a thrill for me. It was just a feeling that I've never experienced.
Sure.
And so...
Now, did you have any tug of the heartstring or kind of I don't want to use the word guilt because that wouldn't be it,